church to connect in ways where they can learn and grow and move in different directions within the PCUSA. So per capita really embodies what it will take to support the future of who we are as a denomination and where we're going. We currently have 4 special offerings. I know many of you are very, very familiar with probably all 4. The special offerings provide a way to support the work that is taking place in the world. And it specifically focuses on different aspects of giving. The first that takes place is one that starts it off is 1 great hour of sharing. Then there's the Pentecost offering. There's the Peace and Global Witness offering. And then there's the Christmas Joy offering as well. All 4 are vitally important. And many of you may be familiar with our giving catalog. The giving catalog has really grown leaps and bounds, and it allows our individual Presbyterians throughout the country to give, or congregations, to give a small gift, and the gift has a very large impact. And so, my slide, I think, okay, the frame is covering the little saying, but I think you can see. It says, if you want to travel quickly, go alone. If you want to travel far, go together. And so this very, very popular Swahili proverb really represents where we're going as a body. And ministry engagement and support is here to work with you so that you can really, really go far and we can go together. And so today, I'd just like to extend the invitation to let you know that I am here, I'm in your region, and I am your mission connector. These are my colleagues all around the country, and we all are here in various ways to support you. So if you have any needs, I would say there are a few of us that specialize in various areas. I'm, of course, the Senate of the Northeast, and then you have various colleagues throughout the country, but we have individuals like Sam, who is our Korean ministry engagement advisor. And if you have any specific needs or questions about Korean congregations or any specific ministry area, you need interpretation done or anything of that nature, Sam would be able to assist. And then we have Lemuel, who is, he is not officially, yes, he's not officially Lemuel is not officially our Hispanic representative, but he has taken it on. And so if you have any specific needs in that area, I can connect you to either Sam or Lemuel. I just wanted to make a note of that. And that concludes, I was really trying to move quickly, so I wanted to be respectful of time. And that concludes my very brief presentation.
Thank you.
Does anyone have questions?
Yeah, questions?
Could you list the 4 special offerings one more time? I'm going blank on the 4th one. Other than, I mean, I've got joy gifts, but then peacemaking and one great hour sharing. One
Pentecost.
Pentecost, thank you. That's the one.
And Lynn, could you say what each of those offerings supports? Do you all know already, or is that?
No, if she could.
Well,
Yeah, okay, so one great hours of sharing supports what, et cetera?
So currently, we have, let me, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Oh, okay, because it was, my microphone was kicking back a little bit. Currently, the special offerings for, I'm gonna go back, and I will go over each one real quickly. So we have, I'm going to start with our Pentecost offering. Pentecost offering right now supports education for various schools. We have Peace and Global Witness that supports a lot of the worldwide global issues that are ministry areas where we work globally. Christmas Joy right now, there's so many areas for Christmas Joy. We have not identified, we're making a few changes actually. We have not identified, actually it isn't Christmas Joy, I'm gonna have to go back and familiarize myself with what we're doing with Christmas Joy. But at this point, I would like to say, I have literature that I could send as a follow-up on these 4, because we're in a transitional period, if you will, with a few of them. So I will backtrack myself and take a look and make sure that I'm giving you the correct information.
Thank you.
Matter of fact, before I hang up, I can post it in the chat. Are there any other questions? And I'm going to post that information in the chat.
Can she send us her power?
The question was, could you send your PowerPoint, Lynn?
Yes,
Okay.
certainly. I'll be happy to do that.
Yeah, you send it to me and I'll send it on.
Great. Okay, and I'm going to post Pentecost. It's actually a link to a flyer that breaks down 2023, I believe, 2023, 2024 designated areas for all 4 of the special offerings.
Good, I'll send that on as well.
Okay?
Here's a question, Lynn. What is an example of a type of thing that, why would they want to call you? Under what circumstances?
Yes. Currently, we have many individuals that when I say individuals that are pastors especially, congregations, mission committees, that really would like to know more information about a specific area. Or it could be an overview about the ministry and the mission of, let's just say, what it means to become more vital as a congregation. The area of vital congregations has staff, and we would be the mission connector to set up the relationship, make the introduction, and in some instances we would work in partnership with the Vital Congregations associate. There are moments for mission that we can come and speak and have moments to discuss ministry and mission in a Bible study setting. We can really, it's a la carte, I would say. There are so many instances where it looks very different. There may be another area where we would, for instance, the Young Adult Volunteer Program, the YAV program, they, in New York City actually, went through a season where they were looking to really grow and expand in their funding of the program. And so what the site coordinator and several pastors within the New York area wanted to do was have me come, and we did a lunch and learn all about the YAV program, which was really, really great. And it allowed folks to know more about what was going on with the program and where the funding for the program comes from typically. So that's another example. Then there's also examples where we would work with the mission committees. There are many pastors that are very closely linked with mission committees, and they have an affinity for and a passion for mission in a global context. And what we would do is attend maybe a small subgroup of a mission committee's, for instance, let's just say a Cuba mission committee and a local church or congregation would have me come and speak about what's going on from the local context of the national church and how ministry is linked to the work that is going on in Cuba. And another area would be to arrange for any of the ministry areas of the PMA to come and speak or come and do a special gathering of focus. There's a plethora of areas in which we can connect you, whatever the need is. We can fit the need. And that's why I said it's a la carte, really, I would say, for sure. Whatever your needs are, we are the individuals that can help make the connection to what you're looking for to get the information you need and the resources you need.
Does it always have to be a global outreach, or can it just be a local outreach?
That would depend on the special program. Well, I understand that part, but.
Can you hear what they're saying?
No, I cannot.
Speak
I'm
up.
sorry.
I can't get that.
Question was, does it need to be global outreach, or can it be local?
Oh, no, it can be local as well. And can you expand when you say just global? You mean,
Yes.
for instance, the
For
mission
instance,
co-workers?
Perhaps I don't want to reach out to Haitians, not to just pick on Haitians, but or Cuba or Mexico or wherever, when I know that my community has needs that with the small amount of people in church that we have, we can't give to everything but we need to be giving to our neighbors. So how does that look on your perspective?
For some reason, it's very muffled. I can't hear
A little
the
bit
question.
further away from the microphone. So the question is, if we want to focus on our local community,
yes.
how would you help with that? Is that, or can help connect?
Well, I think that's the same question you just asked.
And so when you ask local community, are you looking to connect with organizations that we partner with? within the local community and how you can engage in a deeper way?
Yes, that can, I mean, sure, if that's a resource, yes.
Yes, absolutely. I find myself working with pastors often to come together with other, even to extend, I would say, the invitation to work with other areas in the community or other nonprofits in the community to work in partnership. Yes,
Thank
we
you.
can help with that as well.
Other questions for Lynn? All right. Thank you, Lynn. Appreciate your hanging out with us for this half hour.
Nice meeting you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. And I look forward to hearing from many of you, I hope, in the near future. And I'm going to send, Tricia, I'll go ahead and send a couple of links. I was going to put it in the chat, but there's several just different, there's something about special offerings, and it's a little packet that I think would be helpful.
Send it to me, I'll pass it on to everybody.
Great. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
So like with Pentecost, part of Pentecost stays in your local area, but also you can use part of it to send kids to training, find gas.
I understand that part, and here's what, I try every time we make the new packet, and I try each, quarter to get the church revitalized. Well, we used to do it, we're not on it. Well, I still stick it out there, so it's still, let's give it a go. But the question is, the whole thing wasn't just about 1 green hour of sharing, right? It was more than just that. And so, my 12 people only have bank accounts that are so big. Right, and we live in a community, and I think most of us do, where probably, 60% of it is below the poverty. And then below that. So how do I, and there's not a lot of, nonprofits and that reaching out this far back. So how can we take what resources we do have and put it back into the community in a yes, but a way that matters, fulfilling way, and what meaningful. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I think with, as you remember, we have that sensibility program, which is just a little bit, it's just a little
We
bit
do that.
over the period of days and months, and we take it monthly.
We do too.
And then I believe 40% of that goes right into our local food bank and
Erica, which can pick one of the community? Marsh Fork.
Yes.
And how many folks are there? How many people are in that community?
In that community,
Yeah.
it's a pretty big community, there's a couple thousand. But the problem is you've got grandparents that, I know of one house, they're raising 9 grandchildren.
Oh my.
And only one grandparent can drive when they're able, and they don't always have the gas money to go anywhere. So they rely on the big food pantry that we used to partner with, every Saturday. And they rely on a lot of things, but I feel like we're just not. So here's the thing, there's enough food places that people can go get a hot meal or the spaghetti sauce or whatever, that these people literally take it because it's free and then it goes to waste. That's just the reality of the matter. You can drive by and see stacks of hot meals that are just, the dogs are eating it. Okay, because it's free, because they can. So we need to do something better than that. How do we outreach without opening a daycare because my church is 60, 70, 80 years old? They don't want to daycare middle schoolers, no, it's crazy. But they want to do something.
Are there any agencies in your community
Not really.
or your county?
Well, of course there's in the county, well, that's Raleigh County, so yeah, there'd be, but they're on the Beckley side, right? So you
But
gotta
it still
go.
might be because they would service the county,
Right.
that might be a place to talk.
Yeah, I think,
Yeah.
I think,
But I also hate to distract too much from Trish's time in the larger church.
Well, yeah, so let's take a couple minutes to follow up, and then we'll take a little bit of a break. More than one person might need a bio break. You know, like doing a local ministry like you're talking about, Erica, is probably not majorly what MES is there for. Therefore, they're there to connect you with Presbyterian church programs. Now, there may be, like the foundation, for example, we just talked about, might be able to help you think about a local ministry and using some of your assets for that. But they're there to do a couple of things. One is to help the overall church raise money to keep us doing what we do. And the other is to connect you with the programs that the church does. That's basically what MES, Ministry Engagement and Support, does.
You mentioned the new giving catalog where it happens. Yeah, I understand. So when we first started doing that 10, 12 years ago, I got a little frustrated because I've been a big supporter of HEFA. And so they have incorporated all these other wonderful Presbyterian missions like HEFA and Solar and the Sun and everything. But now you can give through the giving catalog directly to one of the main 4 programs. But they said what it did, and the reason that they did, the justification for doing that, in direct competition with other Presbyterian missions, is they get more money. When people see what they can go to, they get actually bigger donations to those 4 special.
And PCUSA doesn't have the connection with Heifer it once did, does it?
I do not know.
I don't think it
Yeah.
does.
But so-
Heifer had to come up more incorporated.
Yeah, so the giving catalog is a way to say, you know, you want your 5-year-old to feel like they're connected, and, you know, so, oh, you know, we can give chickens to, you know, to this family in, you know, name a country. That's one thing. You just talked about shared mission, which is funds that go from congregations through presbyteries to the General Assembly for various, like, basic things. Like, you know, you all served on sessions, you know that if everybody only wants to give to this program, how are you going to keep on the lights? You know, so shared mission is where it's needed. Some of it will go to programs in the budget, but some of it will just go to, you know, pay the people who clean the building and you know, me and you know, that, well, actually me, not me, for shared mission.
Me.
And, yeah. So the other funding source that we have is per capita. Are you all familiar with per capita? So each level of council above the session, the General Assembly per capita is $9.80 a year this time. And I know that people think, oh my God, it's, you know, when you look at your church budget, it might seem like a lot, but if every Presbyterian gave $9.80 to the national church, it would fund all of the office of the General Assembly and a bunch of other things. Everybody doesn't, and so when we budget, we have to budget for people who aren't going to pay. And so everybody who is paying has to pay more for those who aren't. And, you know, some are just, we'll use the word freeloaders. So,
And if you look at the Presbyterian packet, you'll find in the financial report, each time we have a Presbyterian meeting, it lists by church their mission, their shared mission pledge, and their per capita amount.
Now, per capita is the thing we pay per
Per capita is
member,
your
right?
tax.
per member. So your total from the presbytery that you pay to the presbytery from your congregation is your membership, actually a couple of years ago, because we budget based on figures we have, which are always lagging. But the presbytery is responsible for paying per capita to the Senate and the General Assembly. If you have 20 members, then it's going to be 20 times $9.80 that you give to General Assembly per capita, whatever your Senate is. Usually Presbytery per capita is the largest portion of it, but they need that in order to pay Susan and Maureen and, you know, for committees, et cetera. So
And
those
our-
are
Our per capita is $30.30,
$30.30 per person per year, yeah.
which
So,
is less than a nice dinner out
yeah,
once a year.
right. You know, a couple of cups of coffee will pay the General Assembly for a year, you know. So, anyway,
$30.30.
Okay, I have a question then. So, I'm pretty familiar with per capita and all that, but what I don't know is exactly if there's like a breakdown of it. So, my question is like the General Assembly per capita built into
Yes,
our?
it's all built in.
Fantastic.
If you pay the Presbyterian, the Presbyterian.
Correct.
Well, of all the things my church screws up, we do that.
that's helpful, because if you don't, then the other churches are having to pay
That's right.
for you.
And we always, correct me if I'm wrong, our Presbyterian always pays.
We used to.
We haven't?
I don't think so.
Oh,
I thought we
for
did.
shame.
Wait, what's the
Because of
end
the
of your
cost of
Yeah, what's the end
Presbyterian.
of
I mean,
No, I mean,
technically, we're supposed to, but because of the cost of the Presbyterian, because of the churches that didn't pay their per capita.
Mm.
So
I don't
hold
think
on.
we do.
I guess it could
So
change
we've
year
paid
for
our
year,
per
but-
capita, but it's not going where it's supposed to go?
No, it's going where it's supposed to go. But the problem is, for example, the church is upset with the denomination's statement on a social issue, then they're like, well, we're not paying our per capita as a protest.
Can they do that?
They can,
Yes.
they can do it. It's like cutting their nose off.
Yeah, they can. And what happens is,
All the rest of it.
as Tricia says, then the rest of us have to pay, because right now, like I said, I don't think we are paying
The $9
for
for all
every,
the members.
for everybody. I don't
Isn't
think
that
so.
childish for them to do when they're getting so much support?
We are
from-
human beings, and sometimes we are very childish.
And sometimes people
And if
just
you notice,
per capita,
and
they
if
don't know
you
what it
notice,
is.
the shared mission pledge, the report that's in the financial report, you will occasionally see for Presbyterian use only. And that's when they basically, they're given the money, but they don't want it, they don't want the shared mission piece to go beyond the Presbyterian. So
Yeah.
that's just the way it is. But Randy, that might be something for leadership team to look at, is are we covering the non-payers of per capita? And we have some churches that exist in name only, haven't worshiped in years, so they don't pay their per capita.
Well, and the rolls aren't kept up to date too. If your roll's not up to date, then, you know, we're calculating based on the roll that you have reported, what your obligation is.
2 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, my church, until this year, was reporting something like 120 members. We don't have 120. Maybe 2/3 of that at best.
Wait, Sulphur's been reporting 33 for years, and their real membership is 16.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. But so per capita does, it's like the idea about that is everybody can, for that portion, everybody can participate in the same way. It started back when you had to travel by horseback to get to the General Assembly meeting. And if that was in Philadelphia and you lived in Atlanta or something like that, then it took you more expenses to get to Philadelphia than if you lived in Charleston. So it was kind of to share so that everybody kind of bore the same burden per person.
But it's a good thing. I mean, per capita is a good thing.
It's a great thing.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and I mean, that's just the history of it from way back in the 1700s. But yeah, we have to have it. And again, when we budget for presbyteries that, you know, some presbyteries pay their whole obligation regardless of whether congregations pay it. Probably more do. Some have started saying, well, we'll pass through what we get, but we're not going to pay our whole obligation. It is required in the Book of Order to do it, but if you don't, there's no consequence. So people, it's like, okay, you can decide to do that.
That was gonna be my question, I was like, is it in the Book of Order?
Yeah, it is in the Book of Order.
Who's responsible to follow through with the consequence?
There are no
But I mean,
actual
who can
consequences.
make that? Like, who, someone
Only
needs
if
to
the,
do something about
if
it.
the Book of Order said that those who, only if the Book of Order would change to say that if you don't pay your per capita, you don't, whatever, you know.
Plus, too, I think that would be like a neener response to a neener attitude. Because some churches are Presbyterian on the sign,
Oh, man.
Yeah.
And they don't partake in anything else. Like, they don't go to the Presbyterian meetings, they don't send people for officer training, they don't do any of that stuff. They just function based on the giving from within their walls or any.
Or would they still receive support from the GA if they needed it?
Should they ask for it, but a lot of these people are just so in their little bubble that this doesn't exist out
And as
here.
Trish has said, the significant portion, the largest portion goes to Presbyterian. And they aren't kept from doing anything with the Presbyterian level if they haven't paid the per capita.
But these same churches probably don't send anybody to Presbyterian, either, like the pastor that finds an
Right.
excuse not to go. Because it's that small church mentality that she was talking to us about, where it's anybody from outside.
I know, but my thought is, if we're gonna say we're Presbyterian, and we know that the Presbytery would step in and help us and guide us and support us if we needed it, then surely we would pay whether we agree with them or
So
not.
it's like insurance, and in a perfect world, you'd be right.
But I don't understand childless, I don't understand, like, it just, someone, like, I would be making a motion to make there be, say, if you're not gonna pay it, then.
And we have probably lost some of the churches that refuse to pay the per capita in the last 10 years.
That's crazy.
My church was, I feel like, headed on that path. Because when I first got there to be an assistant secretary and as a member elsewhere, I was like, why is this Second Presbyterian Church? And it was like, they're like, no, I'm serious. Why are we not like the West Huntington Church of who cares, whatever we are, versus Second Presbyterian? They're like, well, because they're Presbyterian from the First Presbyterian. I was like, well, what do we do about it? And no one had an answer for anything. So like I said, okay, at the very least, until you fire me, I'm going to start calling Maureen Wright every week. And we're like, hi, my name's Andrew Tilley. I work at Second Presbyterian. What in the world do I do? And I started doing that. And so like we finally, I've kind of drug them along with me, but we've gotten reattached. But what we're talking about right now is a super, super real thing.
Yeah.
And I think just bottom line, it's probably going to take folks like us, like just taking a stand and saying, listen, we're either going to be Presbyterian because we choose to, and we believe it's a good thing, or we're not. And let's quit playing around like we're all playing house or like we're children.
If there's no consequence, we're enabling them to continue
Yes,
not
but
paying.
Girl,
the
preach.
ultimate consequence is what Susan was saying. Churches close. Churches take their sign down and become, what is it,
And
not
some do
Methodist
community- some
anymore,
become
it's, yeah,
community churches.
community churches.
But you're here because of what we pay per capita, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Tricia's here basically not to devalue it, but free. Because your time is paid for through your per capita.
Right, you said you'd offer an honorarium, I don't take that.
That is-
But, yeah, that's,
Yeah.
if I weren't working for the Office of General Assembly, be happy to take your money.
Right.
But,
But that's a service that our per
Yeah,
capita
exactly.
gets us here in West Virginia Presbyterian. And I've called on several of folks. Laurie Griffith's been here. I can't remember who else, but Ray,
Is that the
Jones.
Book of Order lady? Was that one
No,
right?
that was the
Yes.
ethics.
oh,
No,
well,
but-
she's, is the
but-
Book of Order
but-
lady,
yeah,
though,
but- Yeah, because she talked to us about the policies. But several years ago, Ray Jones came and did a workshop on evangelism. So we draw on denominational staff quite often.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So that's why, when you talk about where does our per capita go, it's providing services for
Yeah.
us in the Presbyterian.
And you all are sending me to Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but there will be reprisals. We
Expectation
expect,
of gifts.
gifts.
Yeah, but all of, Susan doesn't have to pay anything to get to Salt Lake City, to be there, et cetera. That's your per capita. Now, Ray would be shared mission because
Oh,
their,
okay.
their PMA is mostly shared mission. OGA is almost entirely per capita.
But that's why it's important we pay both.
Right.
Because-
And as you mentioned, the Unification Commission is going to do away with those distinctions, but they're probably, at least for a while, will still be per capita. They're looking at one of the things that the last assembly did also say was that there should be a special group to talk about different funding models, and so they're thinking through that. But You're exactly right. We have responsibilities to one another. You know, and we generally don't penalize people when they don't.
Let's just hope though that enabling the others doesn't make other churches become childish and say, well, if they're not paying, we're not, you know.
Well,
and it
exactly.
spreads.
And the other thing is that, I think Susan mentioned this last time, how connected a church is to the denomination, and the presbytery, the synod, or the General Assembly depends largely upon its leadership. That's you. So, anyway, let's take a bit of a break, as long as it takes for everybody to have a bio break, and then we'll get back to it.
And if there are other restrooms here,